I'm delighted to be here this evening with you guys and meet you for the first time. I really am, and I'm looking forward to working with you because on the outside we are so different. There's so many of us in so many ways are different. Different cultures, different. I mean, there's people here from other countries, right? Are there not? Right? Yeah, right. And yet, on the inside, we are all so similar. And it is those similarities that bring us here to this room together, right? We feel too much and too deeply, and we wound too easily. We seek out a lot of time alone that we tend to enjoy, and that makes other people think we're pretty weird. And all of us are obsessive compulsives, are we not? Or we wouldn't have chosen, be drawn to the work that we do. But anyway, I am looking very much forward to it. And thanks, for being here and being on time and all that stuff. I really appreciate it, but I would like to introduce our guests here. Karen and David are collectively an incredibly fine YouTube channel called Film Courage. Have any of you ever been there or seen it, right? Film Courage? I just checked, guys, and they now have over 200,000 subscribers, roaring on their way to 250,000, and that is bloody remarkable. And what they are doing, just as an academic and all that stuff, they are creating a library of our time that you just kind of happened into to hear the way you began anyway, right? They're creating this library of our time here, this slice of life on planet Earth, in a look into the creativity and just plain hard work of film and TV. That's what they're doing. They're all these interviews, and now sometimes classes like this one will be. I have a feeling it's going to be like Samuel Pepys' diary. Do you know anybody know what that is, Samuel? Oh dear, too obscure. Okay. It was Samuel Pepys was a guy in the mid 1600s in London who was a compulsive diarist, and every day he wrote until an entire bookshelf, ultimately, with 12 volumes or however many it is. But what he was doing was recording, and he loved theater. He absolutely loved it, and he's got every detail of all the shows and the plots and what went on and what people looked like. It's all there, and it is a treasure trove for academics now to look back and really see and understand what life was like then and what theater was like. And that's what you guys are doing, whether you know it yet or not. Okay. My first task here as a class overall is do what I can to get us all on the same page. This is a room full of talent and talented people. But the experience of that talent as it ranges from to the end of near novice or just getting started to working professional screenwriters. They're all here. And what I'm going to show you here, the journey we're going to take through screen story structure is can be looked at several ways. For some of you, it'll be new stuff. For all of you, I've got something new. Don't worry about that. But for some of you, there'll be a lot of new stuff. And for some of you, it will be review. Right? But there is another way of looking at it, too. You guys are proposing and are pursuing to get your MFA in screenwriting. And a Master of Fine Art, a 42-unit degree, a Master of Fine Arts is what is called a terminal degree. And that means in that field, beyond that degree, there is no other degree that's higher than. And that means, as many of you know, the Master of Fine Arts in Screenwriting is a kind of a license to teach in every college and every university not only in the United States of America, but also generally in the world. And that's something worth having. I mean, I was doing that when I was a kid, and I didn't want to leave college. I just loved it too much, and the world was scary. And early on, I was getting this stuff, and I got these degrees. And then life rolled on, and I just stuck them in a drawer. And then a time came when, you know, an offer came, and I was qualified. I had this stuff. So can be a powerful and important degree to you, really. So, and therefore, since you're putting the possibility of teaching in your closet, stashing it away somewhere, another way to look at everything you see us do, your instructors, your mentors here for the next 2 years, it can become a study in how certain things are taught. Each of us is different, and each of us has a certain different approach, right? But pay attention. I'm a handout person, and you'll get them as we go forward. Save your handouts. Have these notebooks for yourself for each topic, because the day may very well come, and I think it will for many, if not most of you, when you will be teaching, and you will have this reference material right there, and you won't have to be starting from scratch. Okay? Brace yourselves. I am going to be pursuing and showing mostly, not all, but mostly, mainstream, commercial, Hollywood, well, one hero, we'll talk about that later, motion pictures that were huge hits at the box office worldwide. That is what we're going to be discussing. And the only reason that a huge box office, you know, the size of the box office, the amount of money any particular movie made, the only reason that's important for us is that it tells us these were effective emotional undertakings that touched the hearts of millions of people all over the world. And that's what we're going for. What we do is emotional. What we do is convey emotion to an audience because that's what they have come to experience. You go to the movies to feel deeply. And so we'll look at how you cause that to be, how you bring that about. Okay. First things first, historical perspective. Once upon a time, long ago, there was a playwright called named Sophocles, and he was a very, very hard-working playwright. In his life, contemplate this: Sophocles wrote over 100 plays. I mean, Shakespeare only wrote what, 37? 100 plays. That's a lot of plays. And only 3 or 4 of those come to us today, what's called extant, you know, in its whole form. But thank goodness that one of those plays is Oedipus Rex. Oedipus Rex, in Sophocles' day, was his big smash hit. It was the biggest hit play in his own lifetime that he had. And they loved it, and they put on other productions of it going forward, kind of stuff. And he was honored for it in many ways. And that tells us something, and here's my point in starting here. The audiences that responded to Oedipus Rex so strongly and so emotionally for its own culture and time are exactly the same people with the same thought processes and the same functions of processing story as today. Human beings, the body, the mind, we haven't changed in 2,500 years. We haven't really. I mean, you want to go back 200,000, that's a different story, okay. But no, things that worked, the structure that worked, and I've studied Oedipus Rex, obviously, for that, to nail down the structure. It is all there. It is all there in relative to what we're going to be seeing here tonight. So a lot of people think, or newcomers anyway think, excuse me, that structure is somehow superimposed, and it's not. It's not. It speaks to how the human mind processes story. We arrive on this planet craving meaning. That's how our brains are physical things, computers, and they search, and well, genetically they have been trained to search for meaning in all things. 150,000 years ago, the vague scent on a slight breeze, or the echo of an echo on the other side of a canyon or something, knowing instantly what these things meant could be the difference between life and death. So through the millennia, it got baked into the human brain. We all seek meaning, and that's what stories give us. Life is chaotic, life is ambiguous, but we all love the ritual of story turning that into meaning, and that's what structure does. Yeah, the point being, obviously, structure is your friend. It is not to be dismissed as dangerous to your creativity or something like that. If you feel that way, fine, because I've worked with a lot of grad students who feel exactly that way, and it's up to me to convince you otherwise. I know that's part of my task, and I take it on willingly. And we will have those discussions and arm wrestlings if you like. That's fine with me too. But the bottom line is, structure is your friend, and if you want to write art movies and you can't stand Hollywood films, we don't care. And the point here being that in the organization of elements and stuff like that. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Know your enemy. Know this stuff. And then if you want to go off and write independent cinema and all that, great, God. With all of our blessings, yes, we need filmmakers and writers like that too. But know what it is you are not doing. It's important to know what you are leaving out. Do it intentionally and not just, by mistake. Okay, first, let's construct a specific story, organizing the elements, and that's what structure does. All right, like I said, we're going back to the basics here, okay? There are 3 things that need to be established in your head when you say, oh, I got a great idea for a movie, or when somebody at a cocktail party comes up, bend your ear. It has to have certain elements to actually be a good idea for a movie. It's not just a place, or it's not just a particular character. You have to have a hero, yes, a sympathetic, active hero. Sympathy, there are 9, this is all in the book too, there are 9 basic sympathy tools that allow you to create a character, any kind of character. Even if you like writing about sleazy people, that's fine. Do it. But they need still, even that, those folks need certain qualities that make them empathetic at the very least, sympathetic, so that we, the audience, very quickly and at the beginning of Act 1 and the beginning of your movie can identify with this hero. We have to become emotionally involved. And that's the window that you have to let your audience in on. And a hero must be physically active. They must be. That's the kicker here at the end, but we'll get there. How the conscious way that you can build and keep a hero active throughout 2 hours. 2 hours of visual storytelling. That's a lot. And there's a lot that needs to be going on in there. Okay, and a little aside, hero, the word hero. I use the word hero in the original Greek sense. I don't know, a if you guys know where that came from. Hero was the name, in Greek mythology, Hero was the name of a high priestess of Aphrodite. Actually, Hero was originally the name of a woman. And Hero had a lover by the name of, Leander. And every night, the high priestesses lived on this island, and every night, then there was this little channel of ocean between, and every night Leander would swim across the channel so he could spend the night with Hero. One night when he was swimming across, a big storm hit, and he started to flail and drown. Hero saw this, so the myth goes, and she jumped in and swam out in an attempt to save him. Unfortunately, in this myth, they both drowned. It was very Romeo and Juliet, I guess. But the point is, it is not gender specific in its origins. It got twisted later on, perhaps. But please, let me use the one word collectively. It's women, men, and personified, and animated creatures, personified animals. One word, hero, okay? Okay, the second thing you got to have is a physical, visible, high-stakes goal. This is the difference between novels. We'll talk about this next week in another, approaching it from a different angle too. The difference between novels and movies. Visual storytelling is about creating visual metaphors for interior emotional states. That's what we write. People can't just stand around feeling. The way emotion and character are revealed in visual storytelling is through behavior. People make decisions and they take physical actions in pursuit of the goal, whatever that decision leads to. So in that sense, I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but in that sense, plot and character are the same thing. A plot in film, in visual storytelling, only exists so that a hero and other people can behave in a certain way, pursuing something visual that allows us inside and allows us to know what emotionally is going on inside of them. There's no narrator, like in a novel, telling us what's going on inside of them. We have to see it. Okay. All of these, the reason these three are key, of course, and then a powerful adversary. Sorry, powerful adversary. And I say powerful adversary. Adversary is the character who is most committed to stopping the hero from getting what they want, whatever the goal is or whatever the genre is, and so forth. And it is the adversary that creates conflict. The hero can't just say, I think I want that chair. I'll walk over there and get that chair. No, you haven't got a story until there's a big, brutish somebody or something, an obstacle keeping the hero from the chair they want. And and the conflict must be as high as you can jack it up under any circumstances. Okay, that was kind of a very quick sketch of hero and adversary. For any story, you must have a hero and you must have an adversary. Because that is what creates conflict, right? That is at its most basic. But you're going to trust me for a while on this, there are 14 character categories that work in visual storytelling. Only 14. And that's not a bad thing, actually. It simplifies your plot planning to know these categories well, because each of these categories provide characters that must serve the function of either hindering or helping the hero in the pursuit of their goal. If you have a character that doesn't do either, they are not meaningful to the story, and unless they're just atmosphere people, which are props in essence, get rid of them. They can't just hang out there. although these categories get rather broad, and I'm going to get highly specific next time we meet on the character categories. You really need to get your head around how to use these, because one of the things I see coming in through the students and the first years and stuff, when they start writing and creating their own plots, is a paucity of subplot. It is the character category list that gives you on a silver platter subplots. And subplots can take so much pressure off of your plotting when it's just the hero and just the adversary, on and on and on and on. You have to keep changing the nature of the conflict. And these other characters are going to help. Just for now, I threw it in here so you can take a look. Okay, that's them. Those are the categories. You don't have to rush and jot all these down. I'll have handouts. Not tonight, but I'll have handouts. It's in the book also. It's all in the book. But just kind of an overview of what it will take to build a plot that works for audiences and stays focused. There are the categories. All right. Now, you have your idea, and now we begin to build a screen story structure. 2 hours worth, and that's biting off a lot. Let's see. First of all, you have to have an idea. As discussed, 3 key elements. All of them must be in there to make your idea viable for conflict going forward with a story. The second thing you have to come up with is an ending. A lot of people, novices specifically, they say, leave me alone. I'm just going to take these people and I'm going to run with it. I'm going to start writing and making scenes, and they'll tell me where they want to go. And usually, not always, but usually those scripts are abandoned about page 48 and dropped in a drawer because they get lost. I mean, the writer gets lost in the weeds. And that's another reason why getting organized is so darned important. There are tools here. It's like, lumber and electrical cable. That you're being offered the tools for building a house. It's kind of hard to just dismiss them out of hand, I would think. The ending, in large measure, screenplays are written from the back forward, or at least they're constructed from the back forward. Where do you want it to end? You got an idea for a character and a conflict. What is the emotion you want to go for? What is the feeling of that final climatic scene? And where is it going to take place? That is important for you to think through. And pick something and write it down in your outline as you build your outline here. That's, for now, the ending. And listen, all of these things, you're not tied to them, obviously. If you get into this and you suddenly find something that's a better idea for you and you want to go in that direction, fine, rewrite your outline. All I'm saying is you need the basics lined up so that you're going somewhere. Because that's if you don't know the ending or an possible ending that you are going for, you are inviting writer's block. You really are. And that's how people get lost in swamps out there. And until they just, they can't face the headache and they put it away.